Welcome back. All the Americans who voted for Donald Trump yesterday sent a clear message to establishment politicians. Ed Berliner says the career politicians need to understand those American voters want change.
Where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out.
Politicians have been granted the purse strings and the puppet strings here in America since the first settlers arrived, and someone had to be voted to be the one making decisions. And since that time, and so colorfully put by George Carlin, Americans have been left to believe this was the best we could do. But in one shocking night, a majority of the American people sent a clear and strong message to those who have failed to exact the kind of change they were demanding. Enough is enough.
He promised to be their voice, to channel their anger, and to change the way Washington works. And now we'll see if he can do that. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, campaigned against Donald Trump, and she campaigned on her long Washington resume, and that just didn't resonate with voters. She lost key battleground states that Democrats were expected to win.
Donald Trump may be crude, boorish, and even insulting at times, and know nothing about running a government. But the fact he is not a politician is a major reason why he will be the next president of these United States. America's tired of political dynasties, career politicians, and elected officials who change their stories far too many times to be given another chance at holding the reins. Don't ask Donald Trump. Ask those whom Hillary Clinton lately called an ally.
I don't think that you are qualified if you get $15 million from Wall Street through your super PAC. I don't think you are qualified if you have voted for the disastrous war in Iraq. I don't think you are qualified if you have supported virtually every disastrous trade agreement which has cost us millions of decent-paying jobs.
America has spoken, and career politicians, perhaps, need to be more than a little scared. Ed Berliner, Newsmax TV.
Thanks, Ed. To talk about this, we're pleased to be joined via Skype from Washington by Amy Kremer. Amy served as the head of the Women Vote Trump PAC. And also with us from across the Potomac, John Hart. John's the editor-in-chief of Opportunity Lives. And as I mentioned, he's over in Northern Virginia, around Fairfax Way. Thanks to you both for your time here on Newsmax Prime. And you know, this morning it was very interesting. My old House colleague, now the Speaker, Paul Ryan, held a press conference in Wisconsin to congratulate President-elect Trump. Here's what the Speaker had to say.
This is the most incredible political feat I have seen in my lifetime. Donald Trump heard a voice out in this country that no one else heard. He connected in ways with people no one else did. He turned politics on its head. And now, Donald Trump will lead a unified Republican government.
Now, Paul had the right words. Amy, I know this guy. I'm looking at his face, and it didn't look to be all in. But in terms of policy, repealing Obamacare, for a guy who's a policy wonk like the Speaker, does that help to unify congressional Republicans with a new president-elect?
Well, look, I want everybody to come together and work on the issues that are facing all Americans. And that's, you know, the things we've talked about before, jobs in the economy, healthcare, education, and national security. And I think that's what the people were saying last night. JD, Washington has become so hyper-partisan. It's all about the Republicans or the Democrats. And the American people want to just focus on the issues. I had somebody ask me last week in Atlanta, if Trump is elected, will the Republicans keep the House and the Senate? Will they work with President Trump? Because I don't think they will. And I said, absolutely they will, because the day after, they'll be singing his praises because they want to be reelected next time. And I think that's what's going to, you saw it today with Paul Ryan there, coming out and, you know, singing the praises of Donald Trump, and it's a Republican government and so on and so forth. Look, I think that Donald Trump is going to have to reach across the aisle and bring Democrats in too, because they helped elect him. If you look at that map, they helped elect him, and he spoke directly to the people about the issues. And this was an election of change, and that's what the people have mandated. And I think that we're going to head in that direction. And I think that I know that Donald Trump has the courage to do some of these things that are not going to be easy, but that's exactly why he's been given this opportunity by the American people.
Yeah, JD, I would say, I was a critic of Trump for most of this campaign. And what happened last night was extraordinary and stunning. And let's just step back and think 24 hours ago, who would have imagined that Republicans would have a trifecta? The assumption was Hillary Clinton would probably win, Republicans would probably lose the Senate, and we'd be hanging on for dear life with a Republican minority in the Senate, with Paul Ryan as Speaker. And instead, we're in control of all three branches of government. So it really is stunning. And I think, Donald Trump deserves a lot of credit for, as Speaker Ryan said, hearing that voice and responding to it. It was really a work of genius, what he did, I think, to hear that. But the real credit, I think, goes to America's true elites, which are we the people. And that's a story that is really is fascinating with this election. Is so much of the coverage has been about, oh, it's the establishment, it's the elites trying to deny the people are not listening. And what you had last night was millions and millions of people who realized and accepted the responsibility as citizens to vote and try to enact change. And, the irony is it shows that the system is not rigged in that sense. It showed that if enough people decide to get involved, they really can make a huge difference in our system. And that's a tremendous thing that our founders designed. So I think going forward, Republicans have a very, really historic opportunity to do something productive with this trifecta.
And we'd expect that from the editor-in-chief of Opportunity Lives, because there are tremendous opportunities to deal with the Obama policies and to bring change. John, both you and Amy talked about change, reflected the reason Trump had such a great night was clear in the exit polling. Take a look right now. The quality that mattered most to American voters, who would deliver change, 83% said Donald Trump, only 14% thought Hillary Clinton would get it done. And Amy, in terms of change, it's not only Obamacare, there are so many far left policies that there is low-hanging fruit for Republicans in the House and Senate to join with President-elect Trump in fashioning this change agenda.
Absolutely, JD. And I think that he will do that. If you look at, the regulations, the EPA, the coal industry, they're taking over the wetlands. There's so much stuff out there. And I want to go back to one thing that you just talked about with the change, because we've all heard the story about Donald Trump and the comments he made on the bus and all this, and about when are they going to accept him and so on and so forth. And the one thing I will say is that we did see it in the exit polling that people wanted somebody who will affect change. And the thing about it is that people, they push all that noise to the side, and that's all it was a bunch of noise. And that's what mattered, is they want somebody who's actually going to do it, who's going to fight that good fight for the people, because every one of them, I don't care what side of the aisle they're on, they get to Washington and then they go along to get along because they need the money to run for re-election.
And that brings up the next point, Amy. Let me get John in on this, because we only have about a minute left, John. You know the criticism, and Paul Ryan spoke about it earlier today, and I guess to a certain degree, Mitch McConnell, who agrees that, hey, we got to do something with Obamacare. It was the notion that Republicans with their previous majorities just didn't stand tough or tall against Barack Obama. Now, we can discuss that. Was it reality or was it perception? But now with this united government, it is a golden opportunity. Do the Republicans on Capitol Hill understand the opportunity the American people have now given them? 30 seconds.
Well, I certainly hope so. And if they don't understand it, we're not going to have that opportunity for very long, because people want change, they want action, and there's no excuse to not hand the Senate bill after bill after bill to repeal and replace Obamacare, to reform the tax code, to get rid of the high corporate tax rate. You can take it from 35 down to 15 and create millions of jobs, higher wages. And you can just go down the list of reform items that we should tackle. And you need to present Chuck Schumer with more legislation than he could possibly block, because Chuck Schumer is going to want to slow and delay a lot of this. And Republicans have to play offense every day of the week to get these items through.
Well, we will see what transpires. The GOP has been given a great opportunity with the new president-elect. Amy and John, our thanks to you both. Now, Mr. Trump got some congratulations from some folks you might call them unlikely, including a former commander-in-chief. We'll discuss that with our radio roundtable next.